The latest with regards to this story, our reporter Vanessa Puno comes to us live. Vanessa, very good morning to you. What's the latest?
Yes, good morning to you. Community members as well as loved ones have gathered here outside the company's gates to lay wreaths and flowers and also to pray for those who lost their lives in this tragedy yesterday. You'll see behind us quite a number of people have come together. Also, families still in mourning this morning as we all await official information from the company. And just behind me, of course, you'll see that emotions are still raw. Following this tragedy, we can confirm that 8 workers have died here at this plant in the explosion which took place just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And of course, community members coming from far and wide, many offering their condolences to those bereaved. And of course, also the community wanting to hear confirmation from the company in terms of the way forward now. And of course, you'll hear in the background hymns being sung as various community members from the Mabuza as well as Firgrove and surrounding areas come together. You'll see, of course, scenes of mourning as the news spread, of course, after yesterday's blast, and family members start coming to terms. And of course, prayers are being offered up to those who have lost their lives, and also to families who find themselves today without breadwinners, families who find themselves today without sons and daughters. And of course, these are the scenes that we are bringing you live here today. We do know that the Minister of State Security has arrived at the Rheinmetall Denel munitions factory here near Somerset West, and of course is currently inside the building. We do expect that sometime this morning a briefing will be happening. That is what we've been asking for as the media, for the company to do a briefing in terms of the exact information. Of course, it has been very sketchy since late yesterday afternoon with the city's fire and rescue personnel just confirming that the 8 people had been confirmed dead, and of course that the fire was brought under control. And of course, in a statement last night, the City of Cape Town also saying that they have been given the assurance that the emissions that had come out after this blast, of course, poses no threat to the surrounding community. But emotional scenes outside the factory this morning as people come and they wait for more information, but also just to show the solidarity, not just for those who had been killed in this tragic accident, but also for the remaining staff members that have to come back to work, and of course also all wanting closure following these tragic events of yesterday.
As you rightly pointed out, Vanessa, details on stories like this is very sketchy initially, so we'll wait for that update from the company. But what do we know at this stage? And take us back in terms of the history of this company. Has this happened before there?
Mighty God. At this stage, I cannot confirm whether a similar incident has happened, but I know that speaking to community members who live just opposite the road from this factory, they're saying that blasts are not uncommon, that loud bangs coming from this factory are not uncommon, but the one which claimed the 8 lives yesterday was so bad that doors rattled and the houses shook. We've also heard from some community members that the loud sound of this explosion could be heard as far afield as Pringle Bay. The community also last night saying that this is one of the biggest employers in this region. A lot of community members from the Firgrove Mabuza area, of course, working at Rheinmetall Denel munitions, and saying that they are grateful for the employment offered to this community, but saying that they are demanding answers. We've also spoken to a commissioner from the Human Rights Commission who was at the scene here last night, Mr. Chris Nissen, saying that the South African Human Rights Commission will also be keeping a very close watch on this investigation. Obviously, at this point, the first priority would be for the well-being of the affected families, but saying that they will keep a close watch on the investigation to make sure that it happens according to plan. We know that the presidency has also offered its condolences. Various political parties, various role players in society have sent out messages of support, messages of condolences to those who this morning find themselves without their loved ones.
Vanessa, in terms of safety protocol, emergency protocol that happens after an emergency like this, do you know if that kicked in adequately? And with regards to the emissions, you did mention that the company says that the community is no threat at all with regards to the emissions, but is there constant monitoring, air quality monitoring done?
I would expect that a company that deals with such sensitive materials, such as this munitions factory, would have very high standards of safety as well. It's very difficult to say at this point, without speculating, what exactly could have gone wrong yesterday. But we do know that because it is such a technologically advanced company dealing with components for munitions and armaments, etc., that it would be completely strict in terms of not just the emissions, but also to put structures in place to make sure that the safety of their staff would be paramount. I'm loath to speculate at this point until we've heard from the company officials exactly what would have happened yesterday. But we do know that the blast, which did occur, knocked out the blast walls of the building where it had occurred. And this, of course, information coming through in a statement from the company late last night. So I'm not going to speculate at this point whether human error is at the cause of this blast. But at this point, all I can say is I am prepared at this point. We are all waiting outside the company gates where the community, of course, are coming together to pay homage to those who died, to hear official word from the company in terms of initial investigations. Of course, we can expect that investigations will continue for quite a while yet. So, of course, the initial outcomes of initial probes, we expect company officials to tell us shortly. But we do know that the State Security Minister is currently in a meeting with company representatives, and of course we await the outcome of that meeting.